Let's talk about the NBA Finals, okay? As Orem and I are talking about the Blazers roster, I think we agree and we disagree in a lot of ways. And so as the offseason continues to go on, because according to Shams, and we'll get to that, might be a very busy summer, but Portland is largely looked at as, hey, could they be the third team in a trade?
Yeah.
When you look at Indiana and Oklahoma City, how we got here, so everybody today, and they started it yesterday on SportsCenter, they're calling this the Paul George Finals for obvious reasons, right? He was a pacer. He got close. He pushed LeBron in the Heatles. Couldn't do it. Lost. Okay. Came up short. They eventually move on. And so they end up trading him to Oklahoma City. And Oklahoma City, you look back at that trade, and they get Paul George to team up with Russ because they lose Kevin Durant in free agency. And the Pacers ended up getting Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis. Now, Sabonis, the better player of the two, but I do want to note, like, to be fair, Oladipo got there, and he earned in his first year third team All NBA, first team All Defense.
He's an all-star, yeah.
So that was like instantly great production. Sabonis, who is just coming into his second pro season, he didn't get a lot of minutes in OKC. He ended up proving to be an all-star player as well. So that in the moment it looked kind of like a win-win, and it was like, hey, how about the Pacers, huh? They got two guys. They gave up Paul George. Hey, how about the Thunder? Paul George's best year of his career, Oklahoma City. Coincidentally, I think they beat Portland the year that Dame knocked him out. I think they beat Portland if his shoulders are healthy. And even in that series, he ended up having a really good run. On the Indiana side, they didn't want to settle, so they looked at Sabonis and they said, okay, you're good, but you're limited. The Oladipo thing didn't work because of injury. Sacramento says, hey, we've got this young point guard. We already have another point guard. We don't want to play two point guards. Whoopsie daisy. We're going to trade Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson. And Indiana in return sends Domantas Sabonis, Justin Holiday, Jeremy Lamb, and a 2023 second-round pick. And look how that's turned out. The funny thing is, Windhorse reported that Sacramento is coincidentally in the market for what? A point guard. They just traded one. And they traded Halliburton.
Yep.
Talk about just completely roster mismanagement. Sacramento's been doing that for years. And so you look at how all this is going, and then Oklahoma City blows it up because Russ and Paul George are waved bye-bye by Damian Lillard, and they end up trading Paul George to the Clippers. And boy, that return was great. They got SGA, they got Gallinari, they got Miami's 2021 unprotected first-round pick, the Clippers' 2022 unprotected first-rounder, their 2024 unprotected first-rounder, the Heat's lottery-protected 2025 first-rounder, swap rights with the Clippers' 25 first-rounder, and the Clippers' 2026 unprotected first-rounder. One of those picks became Jalen Williams. So how did we get here? Paul George is the centerpiece of it all, but also brilliant flipping of chips after getting said chips.
Yeah. I mean, the Thunder have done an unbelievable job when you look at the way Sam Presti has managed those assets and has always been able to bring back picks and players for the players that are going out the door. You know, with whether it was Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul George. I mean, he's just done a masterful job of collecting those assets, and we talk about it all the time. In terms of just basically outsmarting the rest of the league. But the thing about the Paul George thing is it was such an intense overpay by the Clippers to the Thunder. But for where the Clippers were and what it got them, which was Kawhi Leonard as well, there was almost no price that would have been too much. Because if you're the Clippers and you're talking about bringing Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and actually trying to actually break through the glass ceiling and actually get to a final, they hadn't even been to a Western Conference Finals yet. There probably was no price that was high enough that they wouldn't have paid. So, all was it 5 firsts plus SGA, a future MVP,
and a couple other players. Yeah.
For them, that was probably that was worth it. I don't think anybody with the Clippers is even looking back on it and saying that was a mistake and that was an overpay. That was their all-in move. But man, it never paid off. Kawhi's never been full-time healthy. PG's had his issues. And I mean, for the Thunder, I mean, just taking the emotion out of a lot of this, right? Like it's not personal, it's business, and not being afraid to take those big swings kind of in reverse, where it's like we're not afraid to trade a player away to be able to like create a 10-year runway here. And I think this is now when it's paying off.
You were in LA when that trade happened?
I was, and not only was I in LA when that trade happened, I was in LA the year before when Paul George was a free agent. And the Lakers had not yet signed LeBron. It was the summer of 2018. and everyone thought it was fait accompli that Paul George was coming to the Lakers.
That's
like
right.
that entire season.
Yep.
That he was going to play 1 year in OKC, and then he was going to sign with the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, the Lakers had been horrible. They missed out on every free agent every single summer.
Their draft picks weren't hitting.
Like LaMarcus Aldridge had basically punked them. KD didn't take a meeting. Melo signed with the Knicks and or re-signed with the Knicks rather than coming to LA. Like all of that. So like the Lakers couldn't get a free agency win, and everybody thought Paul George was coming. And I remember being at a gym at UCLA when the Thunder were playing the Lakers that night at shoot around, and somebody asked Russ, about keeping Paul in OKC, and Russ goes, "We're going to win a championship. How's that for for a sales pitch?" Basically, didn't work out that way, but did keep. And I remember the night,
concert they announced it.
I was going to
They were at the
say,
show.
like they had like the
remember
backyard
that.
concert,
Yeah.
where Paul George came out and announced it. So that to me was the bigger shock, was that when Paul re-signed in LA, or excuse me, in OKC, the trade. I was in Vegas because it was summer league, and we were all kind of on Kawhi watch because the Lakers were ostensibly trying to get in on the Kawhi sweepstakes, and all of a sudden the PG deal happens, and you realize it's a package deal.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, it wasn't as seismic as the Luka and AD trade, and I grant that. But when people talk about like the most shocking trades of the modern era, Paul George to the Clippers is way up there in terms of like out of nowhere, mind blowing, changing the the balance of power in the league.
I had a buddy of mine who he was a little bummed by the Knicks result. He wanted to see the Knicks in the finals more than the Pacers, and he's like, "Are you even interested?" And I'm like, "Dude,
You're friends with Spike Lee?"
I am friend. Well, no, it's Timothée Chalamet, man. Come on, like, we're best friends. But I just was like, I think this is going to be a good finals, and I already said this on the show, so I'll say one more. I don't care about the ratings. I'm not going to talk about the ratings. I like basketball. I think this is a fun matchup. I think you got two interesting things here. You've got never in your lifetime, my lifetime, Ortner's lifetime, or any real listener's lifetime have you had a team this young break through this quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Usually you got to suffer that, that traditional NBA heartbreak. You got to get beat by a couple teams a couple times, and man, they finally broke through. That did not happen to them. They got in year 1 year. They were the 1 seed. They lost in the second round. People instantly said, blow some of this up. They didn't. They said, no, let's build it back. They're young. They're 23, 24, 25, 26. SGA's the elder statesman of the team. They run it back. He has an MVP season. They're in the finals. They are 4 wins away, 84 wins could have in a season from winning their first franchise championship. I'm not counting that Sonics title. I never will. That's their first franchise title.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. This is unprecedented. We have never seen this happen in league history. And on the other side of this, you mean to tell me at the end of this basketball season, I might see the Indiana Pacers hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy? I would never have believed that if you told me 80 times it's going to happen. You could be Biff or Marty with the almanac, and I'd be like, you made that up. That's fake. There's no way. And they might do it. I'm not going to put it past them. I'm not going to write them off and say they have no chance at all. I don't know why we would do that. 7 straight years of 7 different champions is what we're going to have here. And I think you can make a real argument it's better for the league for the Pacers to win the title this year, given it doesn't, and I don't want to use the word dynasty, but it certainly look at that and you say they're all coming back, they're all under contract, they've got this experience now, and who's to say that team and that group doesn't say, look, Jalen Brunson took a slight pay cut to make it work. What if we all take little pay cuts and that accumulates into having great roster depth? So I don't know. I think I'm rooting for the Pacers and the Heel and Halliburton. I think it's better for the league for them to win it because, man, that engine in Oklahoma City, it's just now revving, and I don't even know where you point to outside of an injury to say it's going to stop soon.
Mm-hmm.
They are an absolute juggernaut already. And so I'm just excited to see the finals. They got veteran experience. They've got a great coach in Rick Carlisle in Indiana. I think they've got the pieces in the right recipe. And Oklahoma City's still young, bigger stage now than the West Finals. But that's one of the best complete teams I've ever seen in my life, bar none, what Oklahoma City is.
Yeah, I mean, the fact they can beat you, like we've said, so many different ways. They have guys on the wing. They have size. I mean, Eugene's Isaiah Hartenstein has been, an absolute. I mean, it's so funny
Eugene's.
It's
Eugene's
so fun.
very own.
It was funny when you think about like the big moves that the Thunder made last summer. I mean, obviously the Alex Caruso trade, everybody understood that was, going to absolutely,
I thought that was massive.
Solidify them as a defensive, as a great.
I thought
defensive
both those
team.
pickups were so brilliant.
But Hartenstein is like not a guy. He's not an all-star, right? He's not going to make an all-defensive team. But in terms of somebody who knows how to play and gives you like an absolute like pillar. It was just so smart.
If they made all stars for role guys, he'd be on that team.
Well, Zach Lowe does the Luke Walton All Stars.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like like they are a team that have like real All Stars.
Yep.
And Luke Walton All Stars.
Yeah.
That's their entire team.
Yep. And one guy on there, Chet, he's like he's in that in between.
Yeah.
Some games he's clearly an all-star. Other games it's like, well, he gave you 15 and 8, but man, was he a juggernaut defensively.
Yeah. And I just think like that's going to be the challenge in the West is like, can anybody over the next 6-7 years really challenge OKC and San Antonio for those top two spots in the West? What is Denver going to do? How are they going to rebuild around Jokic? What do the Lakers look like as they build around Doncic? Because like everybody seems like Minnesota, Dallas.
Is Memphis going to bring it
Utah
back?
Is Utah going to like
not next
cash
year.
in on some of this stuff? Not next year, no. But like I mean, the pieces in Utah are there.
They want Debanza.
And then say nothing of the Blazers.
Yeah.
But it's like it feels like everybody is 3 steps behind San Antonio and the Thunder right now.
Really, you think it's that? Like I threw this at you. If I tell you San Antonio gets Giannis, and they have Fox, Giannis, and Wemby,
yeah,
is that 3 steps? Or is that,
no? I'm saying San
God.
Antonio and OKC are at the top
in
terms of like me looking beyond.
What about
this year.
Houston getting Giannis?
Houston getting Giannis would put them in the mix.
I think it would have to, right?
They'd be there.
Yeah.
They would be. I mean, Houston with Giannis would be I would say even a step above San Antonio at this point.
I'm excited to watch it. What do you think is going to happen
with Giannis?
No, with Indiana and Oklahoma City.
I do think the Thunder are going to win. I think.
You think it's a quick series?
I think it's like a really competitive series that doesn't last that long.
So like the Eastern Conference Finals last year between Boston and Indiana, where they blew a lead every time.
I could see it being a 5-game series with great games.
Siakam edging Halliburton in the MVP.
Funny, so funny. Like the moment.
Did you see him almost step up?
The moment when Halliburton kind of like points to himself, like I'm the guy. So good.
Takes that step. Siakam. Oh, and he just kind of like stops and fades back in like he's Homer Simpson going into the bush.
It's so funny,
dude. We saw that.
I was dying because like also like I didn't necessarily see that coming either. I assumed that was going to be Halliburton's
to have a 32, 15 and 14 game, to have the moment in the Garden in game 1, like. And then he had that big 3 to kind of put the nail in the coffin. Siakam's fine. Siakam had a great series.
Great series. Very consistent.
But it's Halliburton.
Yeah. It's his team.
Like why is there only 9 voters?
That's why they're in the finals.
It's ridiculous.
I need to see the ballots. Who voted for who? I'm sure that's online. I want to see who among the NBA writing brethren voted for Siakam versus Halliburton.
Do you like having conference finals MVPs? It doesn't have to matter. But
I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care. It's one of those things. I mean, sure.
But we just debated Halliburton, Siakam,
sure.
So we care a little bit.
I think like anything that helps make things matter. Like,
I agree.
I want to feel like things matter.
That's why I like the IST.
And also I think it's winning the conference is a huge deal.
Huge
and
deal.
Especially when you're the Indiana Pacers, especially when you're the Oklahoma City Thunder and you don't get there. Like, and you don't have trophies. Like, teams get made fun of. The Clippers get made fun of for hanging a Pacific Division, championship.
We used to do that here.
Yeah, but it's like, man, like, celebrate what you got. And to me, like, if you can make the conference championship even that much more meaningful, not saying it should be a participation trophy or like give a trophy for anything, but like winning a conference championship is hard. It took a lot. And there should be some hardware for that in addition to just the team trophy. So I'm fine with an MVP. The Larry Bird MVP.